Hi guys, welcome back to the Block on Blocks at Web3 TV. Today's guest is Mr. Jack Mouzer, Chief Operating Officer at Dart. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me on the show.
Of course. So why don't we get started with an introduction to yourself and to Dart and what you guys are building?
Yeah, so my name is Jack Mouzer. I'm the COO at Dart. I'm a British expat here in Dubai. I moved here in June last year. So I've been here around 1.5 years now. And at Dart, we are supporting founders on that relocation journey from their home country to here in Dubai. But we don't just help them with the paperwork, we help them with the setup, the scaling, and the business development here in Dubai. So it's not just about getting the paperwork, it's about how can you really, make Dubai your launchpad and grow your business. So we're partnered with Dubai World Trade Center primarily. We have a great relationship with them, and we're pioneering their business campus, and we're looking to position them as one of the leading free zones here in the UAE.
That's amazing. So always great to talk to other people that are, forward on ecosystems and communities. In your ecosystem, where are most founders coming from? What's the most area they're relocating from?
Our ecosystem is quite diverse, but I would say definitely the largest proportion are from Europe, from the UK, Germany, France, but we have a footprint in North America. We have Australian clients. We have a good footprint in Central Asia, in China, Japan, Hong Kong. So it definitely is diversified, but if I was to say the majority, for sure European.
Okay, and why do you think that is?
Economical and political instability over the last couple of years. Dubai is emerging as the business hub of the world. It's getting a lot of media attention and people moving or referring friends to do the same journey, and that word of mouth spreads. And there's a great European community here, a great British community here, and it's attracting founders and families to make the move.
I think we're seeing a lot of that, especially I would say in the last year or two.
For sure, the last 2 years, it's increased massively.
Yeah. And so when we're talking about political and economical stability, what do you think the UAE does right?
In terms of their policies and compliance, it's very straightforward, it's very clear, and it sets up the economy to have this level of trust and credibility, whether it's about rules around licensing, business activity, or the government are very transparent with their policies on investment, or for example the D33 economic agenda. They're highlighting what their ambition is in 2033. So you have that almost decade roadmap where for investors, whether it's VCs or founders looking to enter the country, you have that trust to know that the investment is likely safe for better word, versus some of these unpredictable, high compliance, high cost countries. We've seen the UK this year. I think it's looking at 1.2% growth, the economy, and or 1.3%. And this year, the UAE's non-oil sector is on track for 5% growth. So there's clear economical signals that the policies in place are effective.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the D33 agenda.
Yeah.
I think one very unique thing about UAE is that the government doesn't change every 4 years.
Yeah.
And so that long-term vision exists, where I think that's kind of maybe missing in some other parts of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. We obviously in the UK had the recent election that saw the party change from Conservative to Labour. And with that, the change in thoughts, the change in policies, etc. But yeah, like you said, in the UAE, it's typically the same, and it's that same vision and continuity and security.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some myths or misconceptions you see that founders bring with them when they come to Dubai?
So I think maybe not so that founders are bringing with them, but I think there's certainly a lot of myths around people that have not move to Dubai, and you see things circulating online on social media or comments from friends and family. And the first one that always comes to mind is that people think there's no community or no business community here. And you've got tens of thousands of SMEs with thousands more pouring in every single year. You have the world's biggest global industry events happening right here that have hundreds of thousands of global visitors attending to. You have micro communities like TheBlock or like Dart, and every day there's new initiatives or activations to get people out and to connect groups of people. I myself have been to the other business global hubs of the world. You obviously London, New York, San Francisco, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Dubai is, to me, fosters the best diverse multicultural business environment as a community. And I would probably say another myth with founders specifically and business specifically is that a bank account is impossible to open. And I think it comes from, founders and business owners bring they expect the same kind of process in their home country of opening a bank account here.
Yeah.
But they have their own regulatory standards to uphold, their own compliance procedures here in the UAE. So the process is different. And, that's why every founder we support with the relocation, we support them with the bank account, because you need to be matched with the right bank and right type of account for your business. Yeah. You need the documents preparing correctly, and you sometimes need to be connected with the right person in the bank that can solve your business. So it is a common myth, but it's just because people, they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely possible for any type of legitimate business to open a bank account here.
Yeah. No, I think that's something I hear as well, especially in the crypto space.
Yeah.
It is almost impossible, but it's not impossible.
Well, for crypto, for Vara or Web3, we're partnered with Zandbank, right?
Yeah.
So they're the regulated, crypto bank here. Fantastic, amazing team, and with a credible business plan and all the Vara, licensing in the capital, you absolutely can open a bank account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the issue most founders have, is that they try and go for a specific type of account or a specific bank when they're not ready for it yet.
Right.
But it's great that you guys are able to support on that process.
Yeah, it's like, particularly UK founders, they know the HSBC, the Barclays, the maybe Standard Charter, and sometimes it's just not right fit for them.
Yeah.
And while it might be frustrating, there's a lot of other great options that they can go with to get it open.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the life cycle of someone's interested in Dubai, maybe coming on a first visit.
Yeah.
That decision to stay, and then what does the timeline look like from that point to them being fully operational here?
Yeah, I think, the timeline, it differs business to business activity. It differs budget as well. What someone is looking to spend on license or process. But if we take an ideal scenario, we might look at a marketing agency from the UK. We would typically see best case scenario, license 12 to 24 hours, visa 2-3 days max, bank account an additional 2 days. So if we have, perfect conditions, great communication with the founder, they're able to be in and out of the country for the visa requirements at the right times. Within 1 week, you can be interested to being fully compliant and operational, which is just one of the amazing things about the UAE, is it's so quick to enter the market and start, generating business, doing business here in the country.
Yeah. I've lived all my life here. I've never had any sort of professional experience in other places. So how long does that process take in other hubs?
I would say in the UK, it could take maybe up to a month to have all the right paperwork to get your business bank account open. In America, the process can be quite a little bit longer. I know that they have some more streamlined processes with sort of Delaware company openings that I know Stripe has an Atlas platform that supports with that. But again, America could typically take 1 to 2 months. So for me, from what I've seen, and when you get the feedback from the founders of when you've done a process in a week and they're kind of like, is it finished? Are
that
we
it?
done?
Yeah.
It just shows, how efficient the free zone, especially processes of setting
Yeah.
up business,
Yeah.
and part of the reason why so many businesses are moving here.
Removing, absolutely. Is there any specific industry or sector where you see they're coming more than others? Like any specific vertical
Yeah.
of business that's moving to Dubai faster than others?
So I think in terms of our onboarding pipeline and what we're seeing specifically, we're seeing a lot of core tech and digital businesses. You have your AI companies, software companies, agencies, consultants. But as of now, probably the last couple of months, we're seeing a greater trend in fintech companies and as well creators and influencers coming through as well for business licenses.
That's interesting. Do you think there's a specific reason to why these businesses are moving?
I think Dubai's, especially the last 5, maybe even 10 years, has been quite a creator economy with influencers and content creation, which is amazing. But these creators are seeing that they can turn their organic traffic into legitimate business, and they want to do it the legitimate route through being licensed, through having the business bank account, and being, turning just their social profile into a credible, authentic, trustworthy business.
Yeah.
And there's different activities to support that. There's different zones and hubs to support that. I think it's great.
Yeah. So we have a lot of different hubs and free zones in the UAE,
Right.
not only in Dubai, but there's like so many of them,
Over 50.
right?
Yeah.
So what made Dart decide to set up their home in DWTC?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it stems from DWTC were very well known for their events, of course, global events, the biggest in the world. They're known for their infrastructure, some fantastic buildings, office spaces, commercial units, etc. But I think, their free zone element, the licensing part, when you look at probably who their competitors should be in terms of DIFC, DMCC, which are fantastic free zones, the volume of licensing or the awareness that there is that free zone there was not on the same level. So we wanted to work with the free zone to build up their business campus, and whether that's through licensing, it's through events, it's through exposure, bringing partnerships in, sponsorship. These are all things that we're doing in collaboration with DWTC to grow their awareness as a free zone and as a business hub.
Yeah, I think they're also very unique in the sense that they're very agnostic, sector agnostic.
Right.
A lot of the other free zones, they're great and they have all the activities, but you tend to see specific businesses in specific free zones more.
Financial center, commodity trading, import, export. And you're absolutely right. In terms of the licensing sort of restrictions or preferences, there is none at DWTC.
Yeah.
And it fosters a great environment for, founders that are looking for a credible, trustworthy, free zone with great, brand equity, to have freedom to set up whatever business they want. And it's great. And they have a great relationship with Vara as well.
Yeah.
So for Web3 blockchain businesses, as I'm sure you guys know, it's one of the leading free zones for that activity.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, Vara is in DWTC as well.
Right.
So proximity matters. What is the biggest challenge you see founders are facing, not only in terms of relocation, but in general?
I think if we look at challenges for founders, if we take it right back to the start of the process, it is absolutely critical to have your business activity and your business structure set up correctly in the license, because that's your first pitfall. If you get that incorrect, your license is invalid. Your business operations are, you'll have to cease, you'll have to amend the license or go different free zone, etc. So it's critical that if you're a founder, you have to work with the right team, get the right advice. One size doesn't fit all. So you have to really have that bespoke consultation to understand what is it that my business needs so I can be compliant and operational. So that's the first challenge. The second challenge we did touch on already is the bank account. And not to repeat what I said before, but you want to make sure the documentation is correct. You go into the right bank, the right type of account, you're speaking to the right person. And the fastest and less stressful way to do that is to work with an expert. And then I think probably one of the other challenges that I don't think probably gets talked about enough is this element, especially for these digital and tech entrepreneurs, of kind of isolation. You know, you move to Dubai, you get an apartment on the beach or a villa inland. You're working from your laptop. You know how convenient Dubai is. You can order anything from your phone. You don't really have to leave the four walls if you don't want to. And it's for founders to not fall into that trap, because you have to take advantage of the events. You have to take advantage of the network. You know, you're 8 hours away, an 8-hour flight away from 2/3 of the world's population. So whether it's a lead, a client, a partner, VC funds, in the modern world, you're a stone throw away from making that connection and growing your business. So I always, encourage the founders that we support relocate, come to our events. These are some of the local events, the DWTC events. Get out there. Do we need to get you a booth, etc.? Just do not stay in your apartment and just continue business as usual. Utilize Dubai for what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing you said about structure, we see that a lot as well, where we have companies that, let's say they're looking to start a raising round, or they want to start a specific activity, and suddenly it's like, you can't do that because your structure doesn't allow for it. And now you have to go back, set up a new company with the right activity and the right structure.
It obviously costs money, it costs time. And it's not just time of the process, it's time of the business activity that could have been generating, revenue or, it's super critical.
Yeah, super. Absolutely. And I think that's why we're always stressing the importance of looking ahead. Like we said, Dubai is successful because they have a long-term vision. I think the same applies to companies. Yeah. If they have that long-term vision, it's so much easier to prepare the foundations from the start, right?
Yeah, correct.
So we talked a lot about ecosystem and the events. You mentioned founders not staying home and not staying in their own bubble and going out and networking and expanding. How do you think that founders are benefiting from all these community events, from all these expos and GITEXs, not only from a very surface level networking perspective, but are there any specific instances that you've seen where something happened, you're like, wow, this is why we do this?
Look, I think a lot of these global events, like you said, the GITEXs or the World Food or, even the beauty event that's happening now, they give, complete fairness and openness to have a spot to speak, to be a keynote speaker, to have a little session, to have a breakout session. And we always, encourage founders that are looking for that more awareness, exposure, content to go and put themselves forward for these speaking opportunities, because you get to connect with, so many people in the audience, and then that content will, put you forward as a thought leader, so to speak. Of course, surface level, but you can take the booth and you can show your, presence and alignment with whatever the industry event is. For example, something that we do during events, we have a co-working space in World Trade Center building. So it's a 2-minute walk from the exhibition halls. So we like to run a little promotion. Anybody who's got a ticket can utilize our workspace for free. And we run sort of location-based stories, and we have, organic traffic coming through that are from all over the world. And they get to come into our space, connect with people, do some meetings, connect with our founders and community. And I know it's still networking, but I suppose sometimes at the events it can be just a quick business card, hello, goodbye, this is a sample, etc. But when you come into these more closed environments, like a shared workspace, you can actually sit down and utilize our meeting rooms, catch them in the pantry over a coffee, and actually have a real conversation at that point. But the events are fantastic. What GITEX has done for the tech scene here in Dubai is huge. It's a fantastic event. It's moving to Expo next year, which I think will be fantastic for giving it that fresh vision and new space and new energy and hopefully an expansion. I think the events are fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And less traffic for us.
Yeah, right. I didn't want to say that first, but yeah.
No, absolutely. I think the whole week of GITEX, our entire team was, either at the Future Blockchain Summit or working from home.
Yeah.
It gets insane.
It just shows how popular it is, though.
Yeah, and they're great at managing the traffic. There's just it gets to a point you can't do
volume,
much.
right? Yeah.
So what emerging industries do you think Dubai is paying more attention to compared to other countries?
So I think maybe not in terms of other countries, but for sure sustainability is number one. Just talking back to Expo is a sustainable city. It's a sustainable free zone. They're encouraging businesses that are innovating the sustainable world to set up there. They're also looking at internally their own policies and investments to be greener energy. I think they have a nuclear energy policy committee, which is fantastic to see. I think prop tech is another emerging sector. Obviously, the real estate market here is huge, both rental, purchasing, off-plan, etc. So we see a lot of prop tech companies. We see a lot of them at exhibitions, events, etc. And it's a very interesting industry for sure. And I think one as well, the buzzword at the minute, it's AI, but I think specifically Gen AI. I actually saw the keynote speaker of Sam Altman at GITEX just the last week, and they were discussing about the partnership with the UAE government in terms of the investment into the UAE with AI and pushing forward for that Gen AI innovation. And Abu Dhabi's government, they're looking to be the first government fully integrated with AI. You can see it with the smart cities here in Dubai that they're investing in AI, and it's it's encouraging businesses and investors to move here because they're leading by example of where they see the economy and the trends shifting. So it's really exciting to see.
Yeah. What is Gen AI?
So Gen AI is kind of the next innovation of AI. It's almost where it's kind of self-learning and it's more advanced. I still think it's a way away. You might have to speak to more of an AI expert to understand the technicalities, but it's just that next advancement where it's less producing information for us that we're asking and more kind of self-sufficient. Do you
guys utilize AI in your operations?
Yes, absolutely. In terms of automating systems, making processes more efficient, it's an incredible tool that we advise all businesses to adopt. And we're partnered with a couple of AI agencies that create agents, etc. And we connect them with businesses, and they either save them cost or allow them to explore new opportunities.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think these businesses that build the agents, I always love speaking with them.
Yeah,
they have such creative ideas on how to utilize AI.
It's really amazing. I mean, you can have an agent for every single sort of department of the business to support the team, and it makes processes a lot more efficient. Like I said, saves cost, and they're doing some really creative things, like you said, with them, and it's great to see.
Yeah. Sometimes I think about what if we wake up one day and ChatGPT doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be very sad, very disappointed. But I think with AI, you can't replace probably the human element,
of course,
the conscious decision making and the emotion that makes us unique. And I think, me personally, I think AI will always supplement and support us. And I think in the future it'll produce opportunities that we've never even imagined, and will really support countries and governments, and I think it's a great thing.
I think it makes us more efficient.
Absolutely.
I think back to when we weren't using AI or ChatGPT or any of the other AI agents on a regular basis. The amount of work that I used to get done in one day,
Right.
I get done in 2 hours now.
Right.
So I think it's making us a lot more efficient, but I agree with you that there's always going to need to be that human touch.
Yeah, look, I think as long as you're not depending on it to write every single email or, you're then taking your uniqueness out of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's absolutely a great thing.
Yeah. So you touched on thought leadership earlier when we were discussing how founders can utilize these events.
Yeah.
And we were talking about social media before we started recording the podcast.
Yeah.
Are you seeing this shift where I feel founders used to be quieter before, and now it's becoming progressively more important to be online and be on social media?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw, there's been a couple of posts that were trending on LinkedIn. I think PayPal were hiring a head of content for the CEO. There's a couple of other companies as well. And, there's definitely been a trend recently in marketing where people buy from people.
Yeah.
Less so from brands. I think it's really important to develop that personal branding, even right from the CEO down to the commercial team, and it's important that your customers or clients or leads can connect with you on a real level.
Right.
And that corporation talk and messaging sometimes, if you're working in an industry like us where it's very relationship driven and human to human and big decisions, you have to have trust there. And that's what branding, personal branding develops.
Yeah. And are you seeing founders that are really utilizing this, or do you think there's still some resistance to it?
Definitely, I think there's some resistance to it. I think particularly with the older generation, I think there's a little bit of resistance. Obviously, for the more established companies, or maybe some companies where there's confidential information, or there's a set culture, maybe in some of the finance industries, it's perhaps not suitable. But for especially creative industries, personal connection industries, sales-driven industries, I would really recommend it. And for us, I would say it's maybe a 50-50 split for our founders that we support, whether they have their own personal brand. I think we're seeing more of a trend from those that come from North America and the UK, that are the ones driving that personal branding. But I think for a couple of the founders we've set up, they were here a couple of months and realized the importance. We did a webinar on personal branding, invited our founders to it, and from there, we've started seeing them post on LinkedIn, do videos, etc. And it's nice to see their engagement, increasing.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does the future look like for Dart? What's the roadmap? What does 2030 look like, 2035?
Wow, okay. Well, I can definitely say over the next couple of years, at least, we'll be looking to support more founders, bring more exposure to Dubai World Trade Center Free Zone. We want to position them as the leading business campus here in Dubai, whether that takes 1, 2, 5, 10 years. For us specifically as Dart, we'll look to have more international presence, more footprint in particularly some of the countries that we haven't got a foothold in yet, whether that looks like road shows or events there, or it's just marketing activity targeted at those countries. But I think long term, it's about investing more in the resources to support these founders, whether it's through our partnerships, through events, through deeper industry activation. And I would say, I would love to provide more funding opportunities. I think that's a key thing for our business, is that for those that are bootstrapping or have ideas, I want to support them with introductions to potential funding to allow them to fast track a great business idea. I would really like to explore the incubator and accelerator side of things, doing a real sprint, 6-week program, where we can have, program managers and a course, potentially in collaboration with World Trade Center, to really do a sprint plan to core focus on these businesses and support them. I think that's really interesting.
That's amazing. Very excited to see all of that come to life and happen, and to see you guys grow alongside DWTC. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you for having me on the show. It was a great conversation, and look forward to collaborating with The Block more.
Of course. Thank you very much. And thank you guys for watching. And as usual, a huge thank you to Web3 TV for this wonderful studio. Bye.